Greetings, Earthlings. I'm Alan Boyle, Aerospace and Science Editor for GeekWire, and I'm here with Flight Lieutenant Gregor Ogston of the Red Arrows. Welcome to Seattle, sir.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
So tell me about the Red Arrows and the thing that you're flying. It's not the Super Hornets that Seattle is accustomed to.
No, a little bit different to a Super Hornet. So we're the UK's premier aerobatic display team. We represent the Royal Air Force and the UK military as a whole. And the jet that you can see behind us is a Hawk T1, very similar to a T-45 that's flown here in the United States. It's about 40 years old now, actually. It's getting on a bit, but it is an absolute delight to fly. It's a proper pilot's aircraft, very simple, really light on the controls, very lovely aircraft to fly.
So what can the Red Arrows do that the Blue Angels can't?
Well, we differ from the Blue Angels in that they're flying a much larger frontline aircraft. Our jet was built as a training aircraft, so that brings with it some challenges, but it also allows us to do some things slightly differently to them. Particularly, we can keep our show quite small and centered in front of the crowd, so we need less room to turn. We're a little bit slower. We can keep our jets nice and tight in front of the crowd, so that really helps us put on a great visual show right in front of you for a good 20 minutes.
And how about some basic stats about the Hawk? How fast does it fly? How many Gs do you pull? What's its range?
So the Hawk T1 is a 1970s aircraft, as I said, designed as a trainer. So it can go supersonic, but in a steep dive. So it's not like a frontline jet that's going to do it level. It needs to get up high and dive down to achieve those sort of speeds. We typically operate it around 300 to 500 nautical miles in our show. So around 400 knots is our normal cruising speed during the display, and that allows us to safely enter those aerobatic maneuvers. The range of the jet is about 600 miles, and we can't air-to-air refuel. So that posed a few challenges when we had to take 12 of them across the Atlantic. And we ended up actually flying via Iceland, Greenland, and then into far northeast Canada to get these aircraft here. It took about 2.5 days to get us across from the UK.
When the Blue Angels fly, they always talk about how close they come when they're flying in formation. How close do these Hawks come for the Red Arrows?
So our closest formation position, we're in the region of 6 to 8 feet apart. So very, very close, given that the speeds we're flying. These aircraft weigh about 5 tons, so that's a lot of weight of aircraft doing very high speeds, very close together. But we obviously train for 9 months of the year to perfect the skills that we have to make sure that we never really get any closer than that to the point it would become unsafe. So 6 to 8 feet is about as safe as we reasonably go.
And what message are you trying to get across in this visit?
So for us, I think there's a couple. I mean, really and centrally, it's all about the special relationship between the UK and USA. But for these guys, obviously, they are absolutely brilliant on what we call the STEM side, so science, technology, engineering, and maths. Being able to use the incredible aerobatic displays and then have the pilots on the ground, the engineers on the ground to talk to, whether it's children or other interested parties. We've had loads of students coming through for different events that we've done all around the US. And their mission is to inspire the next generation. So the chance for kids to meet a pilot, to meet an engineer, to hear their story, it's absolutely fantastic.
And of course, in the Seattle area, we all know about the Blue Angels. We're just getting introduced to the Red Arrows. What do you want to tell people about this blue versus red question?
I mean, they're different planes. They do different styles of flying. Obviously, I think the Reds are a little bit better, but, the Blues are catching up. They're a bit faster. So, no, I mean, it's just, again, it just shows the incredibly close relationship. So during the tour, the Reds have had the chance to perform and fly with both the Blues and the Thunderbirds as well. And that's been great, as well as with the teams up in Canada when they've been north of the border. But again, it just exemplifies and demonstrates that special relationship that exists between the UK and USA. It's really close, and these guys are the embodiment of it.
Compare the airspeed of a Hawk T1 and a Swallow.
Would that be a laden or an unladen Swallow?
Oh!